So the theme for today's video is ain't no party like an anxiety party, because an anxiety party might kill you. Hi everybody, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Sorry for that horrid opening. Credits go to Neil Hilborn, he's my dude. This video is going to be a chaotic disaster because I am stressed, and instead of dealing with it, I'm making YouTube videos. So here we go. What was that move? I have no idea. So I have recently delved into, God, I need to tie my hands behind my back. Recently delved into the world of the Reading Rush marathon, readathon, and that's half the reason I'm stressed, because I can't read the books fast enough and I picked too many books because I am an overachiever. But it's fine. It's fine. Everyone's fine. We're gonna be fine. But they have a challenge and it's called the Racing to Read book tag. So that's what we're here to do today, my dudes. I also use my dudes in a gender neutral way. You are all welcome on this channel. It's a minute and a half into this video and we're a train wreck. It's fine. Warm up. A book that stretches your mind. So many books. Any book with like a really good plot twist wins points for like making my brain explode a little bit. I have two, that works, two that we're going to talk about today. The first is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I highly, highly recommend you read this book. There's this whole little weird thing in the middle about flowers and things like that, but there's like so much that goes on in this novel, but like every time I go back to it, or sometimes I just like stumble across a quote on the internet and I'm like, that's from The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I like completely forget about it. It's one of those books that like every time there's like a new layer pulled apart, and that like always like warps my brain when I can like reread a book and like everything changes. Yeah. I'm a disaster. Also the ending of this book, I will not spoil it, but this ending of this book kind of like fucked me up a little bit, where I was like, what? But it's super cool. It's super dope. There's a great Tumblr post out there where they talk about alternative titles for this, and one of them is like, it's okay to be gay as long as you know how to hide the body, or as long as you hide the body, and that is my favorite alternate title for this book. I think they should sell an edition of it. So that's that. The other one, this feels a little obvious, The Complete Works of Sherlock Holmes, because I am a dum-dum. And if you're like me and you love the BBC Sherlock, you have at least once in your life stared at a person and tried to make deductions about them appear out of thin air and then realize you're just making shit up. So anytime I read this book, it always blows my mind a little bit. Arthur Conan Doyle is a phenomenal writer, and the mysteries are so intricate and so well done. Plus, if you're like me and you're a huge fan of Sherlock, BBC, otherwise any Sherlock media, you gotta have read the originals because it makes everything else have a little bit of extra spice, and you pick up all those like little baby Easter eggs that you didn't know about. So that is that. Alright, next. Starting line. What's a book that you started but you never finished? A lot of books. I think there's two that I want to talk about. The first one, this is going to be very controversial, but The Book Thief. I know so many people who love that book, and I tried to read it like 5 or 6 times growing up, to the point that like I had memorized, like when I was reading the first chapter I was getting deja vu because I'd read it so many times. So I could just never, that was just one book that like no matter how hard I tried, I wanted to love it, I wanted to like it, and I couldn't get through it. I have not gone back to try and read it in like 5 years. Maybe I should. That's a whole other story. The one that I just need to talk about for shits and giggles is the most recent book that I haven't finished. And it is A Brightness Long Ago. I still have it because I haven't returned it to the library yet. I got almost 300 pages into this book before I gave up. And, oh, you know what, I don't need to find it. I remember it because it scarred me, but because I was reading it, and there's like, he just keeps throwing all these like weird things that don't really need to be in there. Like there's a guy who's like There's this portion where the guy is talking about fondling a woman's breast and oranges at the same time, and he's like comparing the two. And the part that caused me to stop and give up on this story is a man is talking about things that he's afraid of, and he says that he's afraid of erect penises, but not his own. That is the first time I've ever said that sentence without bursting out laughing. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that has to do with a war between two, what the heck do you call them? Not marauders. Mercenaries. That's the word. I don't know what that has to do with a war between two mercenaries. It's in there, it exists, and I hate it. And that is the line that caused me to close the book and go, I don't care, I'm not reading the last 120 pages. So that's that. Next is The Sprint, a book you read really quickly. I read a lot of books really quickly. I just realized I didn't grab the book that I want for this. We're back. I'm organized. I forgot to grab shit. The book that I read a lot of books really fast, particularly YA. A lot of times with YA, I like start them at night for some reason, and then I read like 250, 300 pages at night, and then I like finish it the next morning. So most YA I can read in a day to 2 days. I also read a lot of books in a day because I have no willpower, but this is the one that means the most to me and that immediately comes to mind is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm pretty sure I read this in a day or 2 days. Every time I reread it, I probably take the same amount of time. This book came into my life when I was going through a really, really difficult time, and it helped me get through it and have some place to like put and channel all those emotions. And Charlie was kind of the first character that I had read about who like felt what I was going through. So like I could not put this book down because I was like, oh my god, this is me. And I just love Stephen Chbosky. I love his writing. I don't know why it took him so long to publish another book, but that's fine, we're gonna talk about it later. But this book means so much to me. There's so many other YA books I've read recently. Felix Ever After, Carry On, Wayward Son, I've all like devoured those books. I'm a bit of a speed reader when it comes to books sometimes, and I have a love-hate relationship with it because sometimes I get mad at myself for reading books so quickly because I'm like, savor it, but then I'm also like, I have to know what happens, and I just blast through them. So that's a thing that I do. I'm a sprint reader. That's not a thing, I just invented it. So TM, trademark, tag me in that shit. I have 1 subscriber, no one's gonna see this, it's fine. I'm just leaving that in the video. Okay, The Marathon, my favorite long book. When I talked about Stephen Chbosky, here we go. I think the longest book I have ever read is actually going to come up on later on this list, so I'm not going to say that. This book, this Hunka Hunka, it clocks in, because it is a time, she clocks in at 705 pages, but I also feel like we just need to appreciate how teeny that font is, because let me just say, this is by Stephen Chbosky, who also wrote this. And when I heard he had another book, I was so excited, but I was not expecting this. I know a lot of people really didn't like this book because it was like such a sharp left, like it's not Perks of Being a Wallflower. It is like a horror, thriller, biblical allegory, deep novel. I loved it. Like every twist and turn, like I felt bad for my roommates when I was reading it because I was like telling them verbatim everything that was happening in the story, and then they would be like, aren't you done yet? Like, where are these plot twists still coming from? And I'm like, nope, got like 400 pages left. Fun fact, I actually read this in 3 days. I read like 300 words each, 300 pages each day, and then the last day, or the first day I think I started reading it, I read like 100 pages. Like literally I was just camped out on the beanbag in the living chair, and my roommates were like, what is wrong with you? Eat food and take care of yourself. And I was like, no, books. Do as I say, not as I do, kids. That is that. Hurdles. What's a book that had ups and downs? So I'm actually gonna kind of cheat and talk about 2 series that like I loved, and then they like did this. So the first one I won't touch on too much because I have a whole video that goes into it. The Truly Devious series, I was so excited and riveted. I loved the first book, kept me going through the second, and then the third book crashed and fucking burned. If you want to hear about it, I will link the video. It's like 25 minutes long. I'm so sorry, but it's just me like brain dumping about everything that frustrates me in that series. The other book that had ups and downs, or the other series, is the Knife of Never Letting Go series by Patrick Ness. I had that series recommended to me by a friend, and I had asked her a question beforehand. I'm not going to reveal what it is because it's a bit of a spoiler about the series, and she was like, nope, you're good, nothing's gonna happen like that, it's fine. Like, plowed my way through the first 2 books, absolutely loved them, and then at the very, very end of the last book, they just like threw a whole curveball, and I have never been more angry that's a lie. I was very frustrated with the way that the series ended, and it like tainted the rest of the series for me in a sense that like every time I hear about it I'm still a little like, really did he have to do that to me? But he did. It's fine. I'm still salty about it, and that was years ago. Next, Finish Line, a book you were proud to finish. I have 2, and I don't own either of them anymore because I think I got to the point where I was like, there's no way in hell that I'm rereading these. I will donate them to someone else and let them read them. One of them comes from when I was a kid, and it's Inkheart. I think Cornelia Funk is the name of the author, if I remember right. So I really wanted to read those books, and I asked for them for my birthday, and my aunt bought me the like full trilogy, and the last 2 books, Inkspell and Inkdeath, they were like these beautiful hardcovers. And I never read Inkspell or Inkdeath. I felt so guilty about it for years because it took me over a year to read Inkheart. I don't know why. Like, there's other books by Cornelia Funk that I absolutely love and I like loved growing up, but that book, that series, I could not get into. I could not keep reading for whatever reason. It was like painful for me to get through it. I remember like setting goals being like, you have to read so many pages a day in order to finish this. And I was like 12. Why did I care so much? I don't know, but I finished it. The other book that I'm proud to say that I have finished is I think the longest book I have ever read, and it is It by Stephen King. There is no need for that book to be that long. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Stephen King. I've read like 700-page books by him before that were amazing. It's not one of them. It's like, the copy that I have is 1,500 pages. It was like a paperback and it was about this thick. And I read it around Halloween. But gosh, that scene that no one in the fandom talks about, I almost gave up at that point. But there were so many other parts that I was like, what is happening? Why do we need to know about this? I don't care about like your weird adult midlife crisis. Just like, get back to the crazy clown trying to eat you. That sounds probably so weird out of context. If you're an English major like me, if you've ever been on public transit, or if you're just a book lover and you're like on public transit talking about books with people, be careful because sometimes people pick up on your conversations and don't know that you're talking about a book and it freaks them out. I've had that happen before. But yeah, I'm just glad to be like, I can check that off on my list of Stephen King books that I've read and I never have to come back and read it again. She's done. Gold medal, best book you've read during a readathon. The answer to this is I have never done a readathon before, which is very clear from the fact that I picked way too many books to read. I have to read, I've already failed, because I'm supposed to be reading 252 pages a day, and I haven't done that. I have 5 books to read, and they clock in at, I think, almost 2,000 pages among them. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I guess like 1,750 pages around there, amongst all of them. Yeah, I don't know why I'm subjecting myself, but I will keep you posted on what the best book I read during a readathon is, because it will be based on the best book that I read this week, if I finish any or all of them. Very last one is Participation Ribbon, and I had a really hard time with this, because it's an underrated book you wish got more attention. This is gonna sound super, like, judgy of me, but I think there's more books that I think should get less attention than there are books that I think deserve more attention. Roast me. So, first off, I'm going to talk about an author I'm absolutely obsessed with, Alice Oseman. read her books, read her things, and support her. I feel like she's a fairly well-known author. I don't know, but I think she deserves more attention, and I think her books should be published absolutely everywhere, and they should definitely be bigger than some other books that are famous right now. That sounds like a shitty thing for me to say. Love her. I talk about her in my mid-year freakout tag. I will link that video somewhere. I usually talk about her and everything because I've literally been ingesting everything she has ever written this summer, and I am obsessed with it. Another one that I want to talk about is this hunk. Okay. I'm going to provide context to this. I love Saga so much. This is my baby. She has been on hiatus for too long, and we're crying about it, but it's fine. I have reread it so many times. I probably read more of the earlier volumes because when I first started reading Saga, it was still, like, the Compendium 1 wasn't out yet. They were still writing, and they are still writing, they're just on hiatus. And this book has won so many awards, so many. So like, it is loved and appreciated, but there's not enough people talking about it. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles. If you like Saga and you're part of the booktube community, like, hit me up because I need some friends to vent with about this and to help me survive the hiatus. It deserves so much love. It is such a well-written series. I might actually write my thesis on it. I don't know. Love and support it. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty. I would hold up a random page, but there's some explicit scenes. I'm kind of scared what page I'll open up to. Yep, of course I opened up to one. Okay, this one doesn't have anything. Look at it. Look at how pretty it is. And it's so well written, and it tackles so many heavy subjects. So read it. Do the things. Alright. What we've learned from this video. I talk way too fast when I'm stressed out, and you're probably not going to be able to understand any of this. Also, fun facts, I suck at sports, but if you give me a reading tag that is sports themed, I can plow my way through that shit no problem. We're gonna go back to trying to deal with getting through this reading rush, and, like, honestly, if I read 3 books, I will be happy. I will be content. We're working on it. We're gonna get there. Wish me all luck. Look after yourselves. Deal with your stress and anxiety. Don't just bottle it up on the inside like I do. It's fine. I'm dealing with it. I'm getting help. Don't worry. Don't at me. Okay, wrapping up this video. If you want to learn more about the Reading Rush, I will leave the links in the description below. You should participate in all their challenges and read about the things, do all the things. It's all good. But also, be Reading Rush smart and think before you pick your books for the week. We'll also link my blog down below, even though we've been having a rough go at writing that lately. My Artstagram, is that what they call it? My art Instagram will be down below. I've been doing better at updating that than I have been updating my blog. This video is such a disaster. And I guess the very last thing is that we will be back here on this channel next Wednesday. If you just want to hang out and talk about books and have little freakouts with me, I'm here. I got you. Yep, that's all I have for you this week, kids. Have fun and stay safe out there.